Hi everyone, how you doing? Well, bringing you another video today, just before KVK, so that we can just double check our setups before we go in guns blazing. So, there's a few important things to note. As you've probably heard me say many times before, statistics is what it's all about, and that's where our true power is. So I've got a battle report here. There's some people's dragons, so they help provide extra statistics. I'm in the battle log of one of my reports. I was probably in war spec, I imagine. Lord bonus 5%. Lord bonus 100%. Yes, so I had my talent set. Would have had everything set, ready to go. So you can hover over the statistic in the battle log, and you can have a look where you get your different bonuses from. So total defense, there was a buff bonus for my defense. There was a building bonus. There was a Lord bonus, a VIP bonus, Hall of Faces bonus, and a collection bonus. So these are all things to note. The buff bonus would have come from Lord Commander, 10% bonus. You can see that each statistic has different bonuses from different places. Commander bonuses, buff bonuses, Lord bonuses, research bonuses. Now, as you can see, the Lord provides a lot of bonuses. I've got 5% there, I've got 100% here, I've got another 100% here, I've got 50% there, I've got 4.5%, 16%, 82%, so the list goes on. Now, these bonuses are really important to note because they come from your Lord page. They are the equipment that you're wearing, they are the talents that you have set, and they are also the badges equipped to your Lord. As you can see here, got badges equipped to each different piece of equipment. When you're setting your talents, it's most wise to maximize your army, your first one, army attack. Keep unlocking, maximize army defense 1, army health 1. Keep unlocking, maximize army health 2, army defense 2. After which you would maximize one of the troop type stats, either spearmen, cavalry, or infantry, whatever you prefer to use the most of. I also want to talk about the badges that are available. If we go to the blacksmith and we open our inventory, we can have a look at all our different pieces of equipment, for example, and it will show all the different badges, etc. that we're using. Noah explained, and as has always been the way, attack value is the best thing to focus on. 2% attack has equal value to 5% health, which also has equal value to 10% defense. So it's best that we focus on the attack statistic and then the health statistic. If we have a look at badges, we have badges of all different types. I don't have a lot of options right there, but we can go to the equipment and you can see infantry assault badge, bowman accuracy badge, cavalry defense badge. There's just lots of different types of badges. The main two types that you get are attack badges and defense badges. Health badges are quite rare, but ideally you want to look at it and decide if it's worth using a defense badge over an attack badge. If we're doing the ratios where 2% attack is worth 10% defense, then essentially the defense badge should be epic quality over rare quality if you're using a common badge. So you want to go through and have a look and try to maximize your statistics that way. Choose what items you're going to use for your attack and only have your badges set for those items. Another thing to have a look at is when you configure your army, depending on if you've got army configurations or not, you want to try and maximize the commanders for the troop types you're using. In saying that, we also want to think about formations. When you're attacking an enemy player for the first time and you haven't attacked them before, it's uncertain what formation they will be using. So for this reason, it can be wise to set up your attacks to be an advanced formation. And you don't have to have advanced formations to set your attacks as an advanced formation. For example, if I go to my troops here, I take away the troops, I can set my formation to cavalry spearmen. However, if I was to attack solely with infantry cavalry, then the only two lines that are going to fight will be infantry and cavalry. And due to the fact that I'm using the formation I'm using, cavalry, spearmen, infantry, it will essentially default to a cavalry infantry formation. And the reason why it's wise to use advanced formations when you're attacking enemy players is because more often than not they'll be using a basic formation. So if we have a look at our battle reports, we will see in the battle log that it's always the first two rows that fight first. Now, if we focus on attacking people that are 60 million or less, and that's even said for our heavy hitters, most people would be focusing on people 40, 30 million or less, then we can be fairly confident that they don't have advanced formations. As you see, I haven't unlocked them yet, so it's unlikely that other people will have unlocked them. The reason why we want to use advanced formations is for this reason. If I use this formation here, for example, elite cavalry first, elite infantry second, if I attack someone who is infantry cavalry formation, which is a default, then my front line counters their front line, and my second line isn't counted by their front line. So there's no debuff for me. There's no debuff for any of the troops fighting. And there's a buff for one of the types of troops fighting. So that's a good basis. That's default formation, and a lot of people will have their default formation set for their defensive formation. So that's something to note, and that's a good troop type to be using for this example. I'm also strong in my cavalry stats, so it works out advantageous for me. If I was to say attack someone cavalry spearman formation, which is the one that I'm using, because I don't have spearmen, I won't counter them. However, the front lines will match, so there's no debuff there. My second line will be debuffed and won't do as much damage, which isn't ideal, but at least the enemy won't be doing massive damage to me. And even if I was to hit them and they were using spearman infantry formation, yes, my front line would be countered, and I'd suffer, my front line would suffer, but my second line would also counter their front line. So, as we can see from there, ideally we don't want to end up matching their formation, because it's not ideal. But even if we do end up countered, or find the counter, there's better odds using advanced formations to attack unknown targets to have a better result in the battle. So keep that in the back of your mind when you're setting attacks or setting attack configs, because that can have a great effect on how many deaths you might suffer. This is always the case. And when we're defending against attacks, the city defense under the wall is what determines how your defense setup is. This determines the commanders that are used in a defense. Your lord is always included if your lord is home. And if we click this button here, we can set our defensive formation. So I need to change that to cavalry spearmen, for example. Change. So it's important also, if you're a player who has been asked to reinforce one of our heavy hitters while they cause a scene and become a target, it's important for you to find out what defensive formation they're using, and it's even more important when you reinforce them to only send frontline troops. So if they have cavalry spearman formation, for example, which I will be using, please reinforce me with only cavalry. And the reason why this is because this way we're sharing the hit as a team, and we'll all suffer wounded, and we'll share our hospital capacities. You can reinforce me with 200 and something thousand troops. You send all cavalry and everyone else does, then we're all sharing the load between our hospitals, and the rest of my troops, 2.4 million of them, will also fight in the battle. So I can have 1 million reinforce me, it's 3.4 million troops, plus we're all sharing the front line wounded, which means, we then have something like 1 million hospital capacity between the 5 to 6 people fighting in the reinforcement. It works out really good for us if we are attacked, depending on who attacks us. So I'll leave that there, because that's just some things that we can look at and think of for when we're trying to play an aggressive defense and fighting in general. A few little tweaks to your gameplay can really make a huge difference to the losses you take and the damage you do. So I hope I've been useful to provide some information to people, and good luck in the fight. We are 21 hours away from. Take care, guys and girls.